2020 EME Educate, Mentor, and Empower Women's Virtual Conference. My name is Gabriel Baca, and I'm the interim president and CEO of the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. This conference is made possible due to the financial support of our sponsors. The presenting sponsors, the Coca-Cola Company. Our platinum sponsor is Northside Hospital Cancer Institute. Our gold sponsors, Cruz & Associates, Emery Goizueta Business School, Delta Airlines, the Urbina Law Firm, Tacos and Tequila's Mexican Grill, CNC Signs and Graphics, Drew Echo Farnham, Attorneys at Law, and We Partners. Our silver sponsors are Thank you to all of our sponsors for your continued support in investing in our Latina women as we continue to educate, mentor, and empower the next generation of leaders. Gracias. This year's conference is very different. Quickly Media is once again helping us with this amazing production. Although we are not gathered in person, we are still committed to bringing our Latina women professionals and entrepreneurs together to network and learn virtually. We encourage you to introduce yourselves in the group chat feature, drop your LinkedIn profile and contact information so you can all connect. Today is Giving Tuesday, and we want to encourage you, each and every one of you, in attendance to support the many people and businesses that have been affected during this pandemic. Please join us and donate to the GHCC Hispanic Small Business Relief Initiative by making a donation at ghcc.org. Donate. Your investment will help us provide resources to businesses and their families. And now, let me introduce to you the 2020 president of EME de Mujer, Lisa Clark, president and founder of ATL Search Group, a board member of the GHCC, and this year's Small Hispanic Business of the Year.
Thank you, Gabriel. My name is Lisa Guadalupe Clark. I am the founder and CEO of ATL Search Group, and I'm honored to serve you as EME's president. We welcome all of you, our corporate Latinos and entrepreneurs, to our 2020 Empowerment Women's Conference, The Power of We. Juntas somos más. We have a great lineup of speakers and workshops to prepare you to grow in your professional and entrepreneurship path. First, I want to introduce you to our new 2020-2021 EME Advisory Board that will serve you to bring quality programming to support Latina entrepreneurs and professionals. Please join me to welcome the new members who will serve you and help you this upcoming year.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. Lost together, we discovered ourselves again. And we realized that the things that matter deserve time.
That looks good.
From now on, we're not going to leave anything on our plates. Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there. And they never tasted this good.
Good morning. My name is Paola Monsivais, and I am very excited to be with all of you today. Very proud of the fact that the Coca-Cola Company is a sponsor for this magnificent event. EME stands for Education, Mentorship, and Empowerment, and that's why we're here today, to empower one another, to make sure that we leave with wonderful thoughts. So with that being said, I'm going to walk you through a little bit about leading through uncertainty. It certainly has been a workshop that I've delivered across the globe to many people at the Coca-Cola Company, and I do feel that it's a fundamental piece given the circumstances and the COVID situation. So thank you for having me today. It really is an honor. And with that, I would like to share a couple of things. First of all, ask yourself, how many times do I speak to myself throughout the day? You have to be very careful with what you say to yourself. Did you know that we talk to ourselves about 14 hours a day? And 70% of the time, that dialogue is negative. We need to be careful and mindful of how we treat ourselves. It's been a very, very challenging year, to say the very least. Many of us have had family members, friends impacted by this COVID situation. In many cases, we've lost wonderful family and friends, and it's been difficult. But we need to keep moving forward, and we need to keep being positive throughout these difficult times, because life does go on. And I know it sounds like such a cliche, but we do need to motivate ourselves and motivate others to give their very best. So I am speaking from my heart today. I have lost a family member due to COVID, and it certainly has been very difficult. We were far away. I am in Texas now, but when this situation occurred, I was in Costa Rica, where I've been living for the past 2 years. We were not able to travel. Very difficult to get here, in a very sad situation. Finally, we made it to Texas to be with my husband's family, which has been amazing, amazing, amazing. And in about a week, I'll be traveling back to Atlanta to be with my family, who I have not seen in over a year. So it certainly is a time of leading through uncertainty. And this is why I say that we have to be very mindful of what we say to ourselves, especially during these times. Have to listen to what you've said to yourself. And keep in mind that we are speaking to ourselves 70% of the time. Now, with that being said, what do you think it means to lead through uncertainty? And for all of you, it may mean something different. It may mean leading through a difficult time, but most of the challenges that we have in life are certainly uncertain. And we have to make sure that we are leading through those, because that's where people are going to see who we are, how do we handle those situations, and that's when emotional intelligence kicks in. So, what is change? Change is the ability to adapt to new changes. It's the intelligence of how we handle things through those changes that will make the difference. I don't know if you guys have heard of the VUCA approach. It is something that we certainly implement heavily within the Coca-Cola company. And it is truly about how much do we know about a situation and how well do we predict the results of that situation. And there are 4 pillars that are involved. One is the complexity of that situation. We need to leverage the expertise of others. We need to develop collaborative leadership, and we need to be open to temporary solutions. The second one is volatile, and this is a dynamic instability due to the rapid shifts, and certainly this is one of those times in our lives. So we need to ensure that our intent and our vision is understood. We need to build in flexibility. We need to translate that data and use the information. And there is ambiguity, and that is the lack of clarity and present. And again, that applies to this COVID situation. We need to listen well, and I think that most importantly, we need to listen to understand and not to respond. There needs to be clarity in reference to our goals, our assignments, what are our short-term and long-term goals, and we need to think differently. And then uncertainty. Uncertainty certainly is unpredictable. We don't know what the future is going to hold, and it's making us sometimes hard to prepare for it. But we need to invest in the information, we need to get a fresh perspective, and we need to be flexible. So remember, it's how much we know about that situation and how well we predict the results given the actions. And we have a lot to do with that. So it is a VUCA approach. And it's something that we certainly implement here at Coca-Cola, as I mentioned earlier, and I hope that you think about it, explore it a little bit further. You're going to see that it does give good results, and it gives you a better perspective. And then when we talk about, the circle of uncertainty, right? If you think of a big circle, and there's a middle spot right there. There's, we have a big circle, and then we have the center of it. That is our comfort zone. But outside that comfort zone, there is the zone of fear, because we're fear of what is uncertain. Obviously, after that, we have the zone of learning, and that is where we actually explore, where we're curious, where we empower ourselves to look at other perspectives. And then there is a lot of great things happening outside of that. So we need to make sure that we approach that uncertainty and those goals in a way where it's okay to step out of our comfort zone. And I think that we learn the most when we step out of our comfort zone. Yes, sometimes it could be a little fearful. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but it is those times that are going to make us stronger leaders. And that's the time where you're going to be able to feel more empowered, where you're going to be able to be more agile, where we also bring inclusivity to the picture. So very important that we understand that circle and that we have the courage to step out of that comfort zone to make magnificent and wonderful things happen. And why is it important to leave out of that comfort zone? Obviously, it's going to expand our limits. We're going to be able to grow. We're going to be able to motivate ourselves and motivate others. And it's going to be able to provide us more self-confidence. Believe me, there are many times in my career where I've been exposed to certain situations, certain roles within the Coca-Cola company that have really pushed me outside of my comfort zone. But I am here to tell you today that those have been the most amazing experience, because those are the ones that have made me grow into who I am today. And I can certainly tell you that I feel very confident in my leadership style, in my leadership team, in the team that I lead on an everyday basis in another country far away from the US. So it is important that we step out of that comfort zone, because we're going to be able to shine. And sometimes you will be very surprised at what wonderful outcomes that can bring to your life. And so my question to you today is, what are you doing inside your business or your organization to feel in control? You know, it would be wonderful if today during this conference you talk to someone about this. Are you dedicating time to what's really important? This have been, as I mentioned earlier, very difficult times. This pandemic has changed our lives emotionally, sometimes physically, in many, many, many ways. And so are we really dedicating time to what's important? Our families are important. And believe me, I am here to tell you that I am so happy to be with family today after a long year of not seeing anybody, of hugging anybody except my husband. We have grown closer. We've been there to support each other, but it's important to be surrounded by the people that we love and that love us back. And then, are you doing something passionate with your career? Are you truly enjoying what you're doing? Describe a time where you have had courage to develop, you know, and to grow during uncertain times. This has certainly been a year of uncertainty, and I'm sure that many of you have been able to face fear, difficult times, maybe at home, maybe at work, maybe within yourself, but that's only going to make you stronger. And it is the perspective that you need to think about as we move forward. And how has your mindset changed? You know, how are you developing now? How are your relationships? How is your network effect? Within Coca-Cola, we are expanding our network effect. It's important to have and to cultivate relationships, not only within our own plants, our own businesses, but outside of that network, you know? And how do we work with other countries and other people that are outside of the United States or Latin America? And most importantly, it's important to have a network in Atlanta where you are able to connect with people just like you're doing in this wonderful conference. So take the time to think about that and to share with some of the ladies today, how has your mindset changed? And so if you change your thoughts, you will be able to change the world. And I know that maybe you've heard this before, but it is so true. I think that when we look at life with a positive perspective, even through these difficult times, we will be able to change the world. We will be able to do wonderful things. And it's not just about work, it's about giving back to the community. One of the things that I truly focus on here at Coca-Cola is we are here to make good things happen for others. So make sure that you make good things happen to others. It's very important that we are servant leaders, not just of our company, but our community and our families. So with that, I just want to thank all of you for having me here today. I hope that you truly enjoy this amazing conference, and I wish everybody all the very best during these uncertain times. Thank you.
Hola, I'm Claudia Romo Edelman, the founder of the We Are All Human Foundation. Delighted to be able to talk to you at the Latinas in Georgia. Thank you so much for inviting me and address one of the things that is closest to my heart and to my life, which is unity. You're talking in your conference about the power of we, juntas somos más. And that is precisely what the objective that we have for the Hispanic community is. Because one of the biggest issues that we have is that we are not united. We're fragmented to the core. Let me start by the beginning. I moved to America 6 years ago after never heard in my life the term Hispanic. I lived my entire life like a happy Mexican, living 25 years in Europe, working for global organizations like the United Nations, UNICEF, the World Economic Forum, the Global Fund to Fight AIDS, Tuberculosis, and Malaria. And I've seen firsthand communities come out of nothing and thrive with a third, a fifth, a tenth of what the Hispanic community has. So it is absolutely clear to me that I am convinced that we can do this, that the time of Hispanics is today, that the next decade in this country will be Latino, but we need to unify. And we need to unify, particularly us women, Latinas. We need to unify because we have the steepest curve to achieve. We, in so many ways, we are the driving force of the community, and the community is the driving force of the country. So we better be smart about what we're talking about. Let me start with that. We are powerful. We are powerful. We just don't know it. We are wonderful, and we're incredible contributors to this country. We're 60 million people, 18% of the population, and that will be growing. By 2050, which is around the corner, by 2050, 1 in every 4 Hispanic will be, 1 in every 4 America will be Hispanic. Hello, 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 hola. Hello, 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 hola. It's amazing, isn't it, to believe that? We are the demographic. We're the driving force of demographic country in this demographic growth in this country. And we need to know that 60 out of the next 100 million young Americans will be Hispanics. Why? Well, for a number of reasons. We're so many, but we're also very generous with our love. We're the most interracial marriage in the country. And not only we're many, but we're also an economic incredible power. The size of our economy, our GDP is $2.6 trillion. Just to put that into perspective, that is 12% of the GDP of the country. If you would put the Hispanic economy as a whole, as a standalone economy, it would be 8th largest in the world. Can you imagine that? Imagine that? We are 12% of the paycheck of everyone outside. So you can go outside in the street and just like say, you're welcome. Absolutely no problem. All good. Yeah, the 12% of your salary every month comes from no problem. It's all good. And not only that, we're not only many and the size of our economy, but the size of our wallet is increasing and is huge. $1.7 trillion in purchasing power, 1.5 2 years ago. And despite COVID, 1.9 2 years from now. And we're young. Super young. We're 28 years old average. That is 6 years younger than the rest of the population. Latinas, we are 26 years old average. We look young because we're young. Yes, exactly. But there's one data point that I would like you to remember. Really, I want to blow you away, which is, do you remember the mode median average? Well, the mode, meaning the most common age for Hispanics is 11. The most common age of 60 million people is 11. The most common age for non-Hispanics is 58. 58. So 4 decades of growth. If you remember those good times in which people said like, yo, we'll have to go and invest in China because that means 1 decade of growth. Well, guess what? Investing in Hispanics in this country is 4 decades of growth. There's absolutely no way that any company can grow without tapping into the Hispanics as employees or as consumers. So drink the Kool-Aid. We are powerful. We are beautiful. I know it takes a while, isn't it? It's like it tastes different. Yeah, drink the Kool-Aid. We are powerful, and we need to be empowered and come from a position of power to realize that we don't have to ask for permission to be in the sky. America is made of stars, and we Hispanics were one of them. And one of the biggest enigmas that I have is not only all the data that I gave you, I could continue. We're over-indexing in consumers. We pay taxes like there is no tomorrow. In an aging America, America depends on our young people to pay the taxes, to pay the Social Security, to pay the healthcare. We are contributors in everything. We are entrepreneurs. We are Latinas, are beyond entrepreneurs. 6% of every single new job in America since the Great Recession has been created by a Latino. 50% of those by a Latina. Latinas, we create small businesses 6 times faster than any other group in America. So there is absolutely no doubt that we are the entrepreneurs, the youth, the taxpayers, the family, the hard workers. So it is no doubt that we are all that, and yet we're underrepresented, misrepresented, and undervalued. And it makes no sense because we're powerful, but we feel weak. We're huge, but we act small. And one of the main reasons is because we're not united. Because 90% of our community identifies as a Hispanic, but doesn't act as a Hispanic community. And by the way, it's Hispanic, Latino, Latinx, Latina, whatever you want, it doesn't really matter. It's an invention of the census anyways, that terminology. So whatever you feel comfortable with is fine. As long as we're respected, as long as we're paid, as long as we're seen as contributors, it's okay, use whatever you want. But it makes no sense that we're not fully optimizing and maximizing and taking the power that we have. It's there on the table. It's ours. And this is our time to go and act on it and use it. And one of the main things, and that's why I wanted to address you today, is because juntas somos más. The power of the we is so important. It is incredible to believe it. You might say, why is fragmentation such a big deal? Well, guess what? Because we get into bubbles. And when you're inside of a bubble, you start looking small. You see things this way. And not only you don't see the proportion, you lose proportion of perspective, but also if there's someone inside of the bubble, you think that they are risking to take your oxygen because the air in a bubble is limited. And you might think like, I want to elbow this person because I don't want to be threatened by air because there's only one seat at the table. Guess what? We together, juntas somos más, but we have to bust those bubbles. We have to open them. We have to burst them because when you're outside of the bubble, you can see everywhere and you see that there's there's a perspective. We're so many. But not only that, there's no shortage of air. The air is abundant. You can breathe, I can breathe, we all can breathe, and there's no one seat at the table because there's no table. There's only one country full of opportunities for every Latina to thrive. As long as we support each other, as long as we bite our tongue every time that we're like, oh, I'm Mexican, I don't talk to the Colombians, oh, forget about the Venezuela, oh my God, the Cubans of Miami are so different than the Cubans of Chicago. Oof, forget about the Cubans of Los Angeles, bananas. We are taking such a pay cut. We're so not seen, we're not heard, not valued because we're not united. Let's join forces and say we're Hispanics. But I'm not saying it in a we are the world type of fashion. I'm saying that strategically. You see, Chinese and Japanese, they become the Asia society when they want to go and get scholarships. Guess what? We just have to say the same. We can be ourselves and check that we're not a monolithic group, and yet we have a Hispanic agenda. And when someone, we have to make sure that we all fight for each other. And in this case, I'm asking you all, let's all do what we can to change the perception of Hispanics. It's enough of being invisible. It's enough of not being seen. It's enough of not being valued. It's enough of not being respected. It's enough. Let's actually have a joint dream to be seen, heard, and valued. Let's be seen as what we are, as stars. Hispanics are stars, stars of architecture, stars of business, stars of astronomy. Look at us. America is made of stars, and we Hispanics were part of them. We've been shining all along since the 16th century, but we just had a huge cloud in front of us. Let's pull that cloud together, remove it so that we can shine together. And particularly Latinas. We have so many issues. We have a perception issue that is like a downer for the entire community because we are associated with our physical attributes. So people see us as boobs and not as brains. And then we have an incredible pay gap of 46%. And we're nowhere in corporate boards, and we're nowhere when it comes to representation. We are beautiful, we are huge, we're the driving force, and people are not seeing it. So it is our time to make sure that we see each other. And so I want to congratulate you for this summit that you have. And I want to command you to just make sure that you remember to bite your tongue and cross your fingers and put them back anytime that you feel that you want to support each other, because this is our time to share the access code and open the door for more of us to come into the places where we need to be. This is a time to be we. This is a time to be united. And it is a time for all of us to drink the Kool-Aid of the power of the Hispanic community and to be seen as what we are, Hispanic stars. So I invite you all, Latinas in Georgia, to join the Hispanic Star framework. Whether you're a Hispanic Star company, a Hispanic Star individual, join the Hispanic Star hubs that are in your local community so that we can have a force. Every revolution starts with a couple of people that believe in the same dream and they push for it and they are echados pa'lante. So I trust that you are that group in Georgia, Latinas, that will unify, will support each other, will bust the bubble, and will make sure that you remember that we are Hispanic stars, and that America is made of stars, and Hispanics were one of them. Thank you so much for having me, and have a great conference.
Early detection is important because when breast cancer is found in time, it is easier to treat successfully. Today, the survival rate for women with breast cancer has markedly improved as a result of better education, improved diagnostic testing, and more advanced therapies. Women with disease confined to the breast now have a 5-year survival rate of 98%. To help reduce the likelihood of developing advanced stage breast cancer, women of average risk should have a clinical breast exam and a mammogram every year starting at age 40. Northside Hospital Cancer Institute provides access to the most advanced breast screening and diagnostic digital technologies. Breast tomosynthesis, also known as 3D mammography, is now available at all of the imaging centers within the Northside Hospital system, as well as on our Screen Atlanta mobile mammography van. The new technology offers 60% shorter compression time, lasting less than 4 seconds, and the flexible compression paddles are curved to fit the shape of women's breasts. 93% of women who have tried the new system report little to no discomfort during their exams. In addition, with the new 3D high-definition system, the radiation dose is cut almost in half. It gives radiologists the clearest and most detailed images for the fastest and most accurate results. This is especially important for women with dense breast tissue. Our Cancer Institute is committed to providing exceptional breast cancer care combined with the latest treatment options and support resources in our state. The well-being of our patients and our community are at the center of everything we do. Thank you for choosing Northside Hospital, and thank you for your trust.
Muy buenos dias. I am thrilled to join you for my very first time at an EME Conference on this beautiful day of encouragement and Latina empowerment. My name is Norma Zúñiga Cardosa, and I am the Senior Director of Program Development at the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. 2020. What a year, am I right? You know, prior to this pandemic, Latino-owned small businesses represented the fastest growing segment of startups in the U.S., and Latina women made a large portion of that segment, especially here in Georgia. But now and throughout these past few months, we have learned that this pandemic has disproportionately impacted small businesses owned by people of color, immigrants, and women more than any other group. Hello Alice reported that nearly 3 out of 4 Latino-owned businesses stated that they needed emergency funding immediately in order to survive the COVID-19 pandemic. So earlier this year, in response to this crisis, thanks to the Community Foundation of Northeast Georgia, we launched Juntas Adelante, a program in which 8 Latina entrepreneurs received a micro grant, a 1-year membership to the chamber, and financial literacy courses. And most recently, thanks to AT&T, we are able to expand our Juntas Adelante program to a second round of 12 new Latina entrepreneurs. So please join me in congratulating the second round of selected participants for Juntas Adelante.
EME de Mujer was a vision started a few years ago by 2 Latin women whose vision was to create a network to empower, mentor, and educate Latina women in Georgia. I want to thank our 2019 co-chairs, Andrea Rivera, founder and CEO of H3 Media, and Lisa Clark, and the 2019 EME Advisory Group. Huge thank you to these women for your time, expertise, talents, dedication, and overall vision to come together to uplift our Latina women as they grow to be successful women in the corporate sector and in the business sector. Thank you, 2019 EME Advisory Board.
Thank you, Gabriel. This year, we're introducing 3 new awards to recognize the remarkable work of Latinos in Georgia and what they're doing to help us grow in the business efforts and also in corporate. First, the EME Mover and Shaker Community Leader Award. This award recognizes a woman that supports small businesses and startups through education and opportunities. Please join me in congratulating Monica Cucalon, a trailblazer who is not afraid of shaking things up, the regular status quo, a champion on behalf of our Latino community. Next, we have our EME Latino Corporate Leader. This award recognizes a Latina who has demonstrated active participation, serves as a leader within their company's ERG, BRG efforts as a way to bring diverse and inclusion voice to the corporate table. Socorro Rodriguez is the Energy Assistant Agency Coordinator for Georgia Power, which she develops strategic relationships that support local communities of Georgia and serves as the advisor for the Georgia Amigos Employee Resource Group. Join me in congratulating Socorro Rodriguez. Our final honoree is the 2020 EME Latino Entrepreneur. This award recognizes someone who has brought in their own business even though things are tough, growth and endurance during this challenging year. Please help me congratulate Marle Gonzalez, Mujer Magazine Executive Director. Congratulations to all the winners.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. Lost together, we discovered ourselves again. And we realized that the things that matter deserve time.
That looks good.
from now on, we're not going to leave anything on our plates. Because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there. And they never tasted this good.